welcome back to the BMG Loft today, and today I want to talk about this cool little guy called Peak Rider 2 from Impact Soundworks. And it caught my curiosity when I heard it on a demo, just scrolling through something, being used on a vocal and evening out the vocal in a really natural way, even though it was still acting as a compressor, because this thing does, I mean, you can shape the transients with it. It has multi-band capabilities. It acts as a compressor, an expander, an EQ, a really good EQ, and just the basic form of what it was doing on the vocal, I was very interested in it just for that. So I highly suggest that you check it out and read up on it, because there's a lot of functions that this thing can do that if you try it out and you don't really read up on it, you may be missing out on some really cool stuff, because it has a ton of stuff under the hood. But I just want to show some basic stuff real quick on vocals that it does that really impressed me, and we'll just dive right in here. And I've got a little vocal passage soloed here that you can see that, you know, for the most part, when I tracked it, we compressed it a couple of dB going in, and he's a very dynamic vocalist. You can see, like, here's the beginning of a word leading up into the next one. So there's still some pretty big dynamic jumps, and this thing really handles it in a way that's very transparent, just using it in this basic form. And we'll go ahead and bypass it. We'll play the little section, and then I'll bring it in, and then we'll look at a couple other things that this thing can do under the hood just on a vocal. And then I highly suggest you guys go and try it out, because there's so many great functions on so many different things. I just really wanted to key in on what specifically interested me in it when I heard it. So let's go ahead and bypass this.
But still I have to admit that there are times when I forget. But still I have to admit that there are times when I forget.
As you can hear, I mean, especially like going into this, and then like between this phrase up into there, I'll just do that right there. Listen to how it brings this up, and everything's just nice and even and very transparent.
To admit that there are 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 to.
So that's a really cool function. I just made several instances. I could have saved presets, I suppose, but I just duplicated and just brought up different settings. Here I'm going to show you what it does as an EQ, and almost as like a dynamic EQ, because it can still control dynamics that's going on, but you're still shaping the sound as well. I mean, this thing's really powerful.
But still I have to admit that there are times when I forget, and then he has to remind me again.
So as you can hear it, I mean, even the EQ to my ear, you know, it's sculpting it quite a bit. And again, you know, try the presets. That's what I did, and then I just moved it around to where it fit this vocal, because I think it had a boost kind of in the upper mid range where it didn't really benefit his voice much. So you know, again, just mess with it, and you'll hear that. I mean, this is a very natural result for how much it's being applied to the signal. So let's take a look at another one. Actually, you know what? We'll listen to this one too. I'll put it in the track so you can hear how it is in the track.
But still I have to admit that there are times when I forget, and then he has to remind me again.
Cool. Let's hop to this next one here that I did. This was showing that it has a really good telephone effect. I thought it sounded very good on the vocal.
But still I have to admit that there are times when I forget, and then he has to remind me again.
So you'll be able to use that on you know, vocal effects. And also I'll mention, because I didn't set it up for this video, again, just speaking to how deep you can dive into this, it has a lot of powerful sidechain functions and capabilities that you can do some really cool stuff dynamically with this. And that's a whole other video on its own because that can get really deep, and it's a very deep plugin that has so many uses. It's really cool. See on this last one here, this was a kind of a cool effect. You can use the no boost, which basically doesn't allow, obviously, no boosting the signal, but it can uh, uh, turn down the signal and then bring it up to a point where it's not adding anything. So this creates some really, you can use this to create some really cool swell effects. And, not necessarily going to be totally beneficial on a vocal, but you never know. There could be certain passages, but I'll just let you hear what it sounds like because it's kind of cool what it does.
But still I have to admit that there are times when I forget, and then he has to remind me again.
So there could be instances where you automate it and can create some really dynamic things on instruments, on vocals, no matter what, it drums. So that's pretty cool. And everything has its multi-band capability, but like this, it's using the one band. It shows you attack times, decay times, transition of the decay. So I mean, there's just full envelope shaping capabilities with this. So yeah, man, this is a really cool plugin. It's a steal at $99. It just has so many functions. You can change it's got 3 different dynamic detection circuits. It's got peak, RMS, and smooth. Smooth is like a window averaged envelope type shaping detection circuit. And man, really cool stuff. Really cool stuff. It's got a mix knob for the compression. Just it's really, really cool. I'm really digging this, and it does a great job at what I initially just wanted it to do. And then once I figured out it had so many other functions, you can spend a long time learning this plugin. So I definitely highly suggest that you go get a demo because this will become a really cool tool in your toolbox. So until next time, guys, keep it grooving.